Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On Point. Today is no exception. We have news on the ground. We have news internationally. We're going to be dealing with issues affecting our Liberian politics. We're also going to be dealing with news and issues affecting the international community that may have a direct impact on our lives in Liberia and in the diaspora. With me are two of the best minds in the business. I have with me Ansony, who is the host of our political hours here on on Focus on Liberia, and always off point as far as I'm concerned. And with me on the other hand is my co-host, George Tulay from Canada. He's always off point. He doesn't like me to tell him he's off point, but he's always off point, and he's going to debate with me today some of these issues. We are going to be looking at topics that are very, very uncomfortable to Mr. Tulay. We are going to be talking about his beloved Liberty Party. What is happening in the Liberty Party? We saw last week in Grand Bassa County, the vandalism in Grand Bassa County when people from the Nyobli Kanga side of the Liberty Party vandalized the home or the office and properties of the Liberty side. We're also going to be looking at the comments made by Charlene Brunskin in Bassa about where this party has been, where it is going, and the history behind it, the Brunskin effect on the party. We are going to be talking also about the suspension or the expulsion of the former leader of the Liberty Party, Nyobli Kanga Lawrence. We're going to be talking about Dylan, and the list goes on. We're going to be looking at that. We're also going to be looking at the separation or the divorce between the ANC and the Liberty Party under the leadership of Musa Bility. What is brewing here? Are we seeing a debate that some say it is the final nail in the coffin of Mr. Cummings and his political ambition? We are also hearing that Liberty Party under Musa Bility is actually drifting toward ACO. How does that sound? Because there are those who say he is doing that on a tribal basis. We're going to look at that. And finally, we are going to look at the global issues. We are going to be looking at the war in the Ukraine area, Ukraine and Russia. What is happening? Is it ethnic cleansing? Does Putin have a point? To some, he has the right to say we do not want nuclear weapon on our borders. He needs a buffer zone, and Ukraine was supposed to have been that buffer zone, but yet and still they are being used by the West, and basically Russia is under surveillance, and he said he wouldn't stand for that. So we have a whole lot here. We want the audience to get involved. We're going to do it in two parts. We introduce our audience. We introduce the subject matter. We discuss it. We go for a break. Then we come back and read your comments. And with there any calls, you want to make contribution to call him, we'll answer your call. And then we'll go to closing argument. Mr. Sie, welcome to the show. And thank you for coming in.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Gibbon, for another edition of All Point. I'm happy to be here to discuss political issues trending in the Liberian community or in the Liberian political arena. I'm happy to be here. I see your co-host, Mr. George Tulay, is comfortably seated. I can tell he might be uncomfortable right now because his beloved party can't stop giving us breaking news to discuss. And I don't have sympathy for any politician, and he knows that. So I'm sure he's not happy right now that he's seeing me. I'm happy to be here, and let us do this.
Mr. Tulay, welcome back. Last week you were kind of busy, but we are glad to see you back. I know you are very uncomfortable because your Liberty Party is being shredded to pieces. Tell me what's going on.
They told you anything and made me uncomfortable politically that a player can get my food from. Think I can waste my time behind people who are not serious. Bro, I'm very glad to be here. Thank God for the opportunity again to speak to our people. Thank God for those who are tuning in. We're going to make it as interesting as possible, as informative as possible. And it's going to be a nice, interaction. And we want to say welcome to our guests, to our fans out there who tune in all the time. We want you to click like and share the program. Encourage your friends to tune in because it's going to be a nice time today. So
Great,
welcome everybody.
great. Let's get to the topic. Let's hit the ground running. Mr. Shea, can you please put on the screen the letter from the Liberty Party chair, the legitimate leader of the Liberty Party, according to NEC and the Liberian government? We are talking about Hassan Bility. Can you please put that letter up? Let's read it a little bit, let George, because George may not have read it because it doesn't go well for him.
The letter is into segment. Segment number one is number one.
You're not going to read the whole letter here, bro.
No, come on, man. Go
We
ahead.
don't have the time to read the whole letter. Just let's talk about it. That's all.
No, we want the audience to be engaged, and you got to give them facts. We don't want you to
That doesn't mean
summarize
you
it.
should read the whole thing anyway. Go ahead.
Number
Ansony.
one, they talk about Liberty Party relationship with the Alternative National Congress, that's the ANC. During its December 2021 Special National Convention, SNC, the Liberty Party resolved to endorse the candidacy of Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, standard bearer of the Alternative National Congress, the ANC, as the standard bearer of the collaborating political parties, the CPP, subject to the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the Liberty Party and the ANC, outlining the agreements reached and proffered to the Liberty Party Special National Convention for approval. To date, we have not been able to successfully consummate the relationship by executing the MOU and are duty bound to report back to the Liberty Party Special National Convention from which the mandate derived and seek further direction in this regard. Maybe we should talk about that one first.
Great. Mr. C, you are the political guy here. You are the political bulldog. This is what you live for. You eat, sleep, drink. When you wake up, this is what you do. I know Mr. Tulay is happy that you are here because this is something that in Basa we call Jolobo is bitter. Even though it makes you feel good when you take it, he doesn't like it. Thank God that you are here. Delve into this for us. Tulay may be very happy because this is the death of Cummings and he doesn't like Cummings. And he would like to eulogize Cummings today. Go ahead, tell her what you think. What you take from that particular paragraph.
So the letter, they talk about the Liberty Party relationship with the Alternative National Congress, and then they talk about what the Liberty Party will do concerning the CPP, and then the text segment of the letter talk about the suspension that was put into place against some leaders in the Liberty Party, and that they were given time to pay their dues. They were suspended because they didn't pay their due, and according to their constitution, they had 90 days to pay, and failure on their part, the constitution has given the NEC the go-ahead to expel them. And in that last section, they talk about they were expelled and removed from their positions in keeping with their constitution, which is Article 9 of the Liberty Party Constitution. So that is the letter. So in the first segment, we talk about the relationship between the Liberty Party and the ANC. The Liberty Party, through its chairman and the National Executive Committee, through its chairman, Musa Hassan Bility, is saying to the Liberian people and Liberty Party that, look, we had a convention. We endorsed Cummings to be the guy we're supporting for CPP standard bearership. And we also said that we were going to concretize that through a memorandum of understanding. That memorandum of understanding that we talk about, it has not been consummated. In other words, the parties did not sign it. It is not done. It's not a deal yet. So now that we have another special convention coming, we're going to take the same issue to that convention to finalize the memorandum of understanding, whether the decision we make at the prior convention that we are going with Cummings can be finalized. That is what that letter is saying. That letter is not in any way, shape, or form saying, hey, ANC Baba, we do not want to do business with you. That is not what the letter is saying. And further, the last sentence that say, to seek further direction in this regard. which regard? The regard that they have endorsed Cummings and that they have wanted to, they are initiated efforts to reduce it into a memorandum of understanding, and they needed to sign it for them to have a deal. They are still looking into that direction. The second part talk about the CPP. They said the CPP, now we have the Unity Party and ALP left. What do we do now? Going forward, we'll decide what we're going to do as a political party that is a member of the CPP. Now that we only have two parties, we, Liberty Party and the ANC, we're going to decide what to do in as much as we don't have the other two parties. And then the last segment also talk about the suspension that Yombly, DeLon, and many other leaders were suspended because they did not pay their dues. And the Constitution have given us the 3 months period for them to pay, and failure on their part, the Constitution, has given the next, they'll go ahead to expel them. They had that 3 months, they didn't pay, which is the 90 days, so they are expelled and removed from the party. So to speak, DeLon is no longer a member, Yombly is no longer a member, neither a leader in the opposition Liberty Party. This is far from over because I don't think DeLon can believe that he is not a Liberty Party partisan, neither is Yombly Kanka Lawrence. You spoke earlier in your intro about what is going on in Grand Bassa County in Buchanan, to be specific. We know that there are two headquarters. The Liberty Party of Yombly Kanka Lawrence has its own headquarters, and the Liberty Party of Musa Hassan Berete has its own headquarters in Grand Bassa County. And to conclude here, the National Election Commission has said that it recognizes Musa Hassan Berete as the legitimate leader of the opposition Liberty Party. That is it. That's what the letter is saying. Thank you.
Oh, Lord, we have a platitude of political issues, Mr. Tulay. I'm hoping that Mr. Dualo is going to come and kind of help you out here, because this is too much for one man to bear. So let's go to this. Your political party is in shambles. The NEC, the Liberian government, recognizes Ms. Ability as the legitimate leader of the political party. The last time they went to a legal meeting where they were looking for signatories to the gender-based violence contract. And your end, Senator Lawrence and her lawyer showed up, and the next said, you are denied from signing because you are not the legal authority. However, we will allow you to sit as a spectator. Mr. Tulay, tell me what is going on in your party.
Mr. Gaiman, you're wasting our time here with beating a dead horse. It's a dead horse. A dead horse in the sense that I told you from the beginning when this thing started, I don't want to be, because it's an annoyance to be talking something over and again that has no relevance to what is mean. Let me tell you, let me break it down for you like this. Musa Berete can have a cognizance of neck. It doesn't translate to votes. Liberty Party is a block, it's a constituency in Liberia. They're not following Musa Berete. And the people are resolved to follow wherever Yombly is going. That is the crux of the matter. The issue here, I told you from the beginning, we cannot win Musa Berete in a court in Liberia right now. And I told you before the court issue even started. It is because, and you don't like to hear this, George Weah and Musa Berete have an undertaking. Madam Salif and Musa Berete had an undertaking. Musa Berete was on a mission to wreck the CPP. I will say this to you today. If the issue of contestation for leadership in Liberty Party wasn't there, the CPP, the problems in the CPP will be easier to handle. The juxtaposition of what's his name? Ability, the insertion of ability between the leadership of NEC, siding with Cummings and turning Cummings and amplifying negative narratives to Cummings and driving Cummings from the table of brotherhood so that they can hear his compatriots cannot come to one understanding is all the work of Musa Ability. And Ansony can bear witness with me when Musa Ability made a press conference at Washington speaking to what's his name? Tima, Christopher Saliv, and somebody else. He gave no preconditions to his support for Cummings. It was emphatic. They said that they had chosen at that convention or the conference or whatever, because it was less than 30 persons sitting there, that they declared support for Cummings. It was supposed to be final. Now that they have taken that neck, and I will tell you, it's because they. Let me put it this way: every ounce of trouble, of disagreement, of infraction in Liberty Party, and thus affecting the erstwhile CPP positions, we are in a better, it gives them a better position going to 2023. So all Musa Ability had to do was to keep, not, if Musa Ability was somebody who was Liberty Party partisan, believed in the legacy of Charles Walker Bromsky, believed in the people who made him, not turning against them, but coming to a place and say, okay, well, we have our disagreements, but I think we can sit together and iron our disagreement, and not targeting them and going after them, this problem will have been resolved. And even when Charlene, the daughter of our founding, our vision bearer, the late Charles Walker Bromsky, spoke to the issues, she was ignored because Billy had an agenda. You see, when people have an agenda, there's no way you can bring them to a table and say, let's discuss this issue. It would never happen. So his agenda has been to wrest leadership from Liberty Party, to ruin the CPP, and then leave Alex Cummings hanging. They haven't left him hanging totally yet, but they have already told you that is incumbent upon the establishing of a memorandum of understanding. That means you and I come to a place where you listen or you compromise with my demands and I compromise with your demands. But that is still left a chance, because we all know that the demand that Musa Ability have for Cummings, Mr. Gaiman, do you know the demand that Musa Ability have for Cummings?
But listen to this.
Well, I'll ask you a question.
No, go ahead.
So you can talk.
Go ahead.
I'm just asking you one question. Do you know the demand he has?
No, I have no clue. Go ahead.
Okay, so that they can name me as running mate on the ticket. You, in your own sense, Cummings will look at Musa Ability and name him as running mate on his ticket. He used the word to people and they repeated it to me. He said he's not ready for monkey work, baboon draw thing. So the whole thing is a confusion. He will not. Now he has backed off from Cummings by even making Ansony, by even making this pronouncement in that letter. That letter was supposed to be only for the suspension of the Liberty Party or the expulsion of the people he said that had not paid their dues. Fine, granted, because he has been acknowledged as the legitimate leader or the chairman of Liberty Party. Fine, but guess what, Mr. Gaiman? I'm saying this thing. I'm not annoyed. I'm telling you the reality here. He has the papers, but Yombly has the votes.
Okay, good. Right there. Mr. C.
Yes.
If you have the time, and I think I'll send you the clip from Charlene Bronsky if you have it, because what my brother is doing here, he's shifting the blame, and Charlene Bronsky made it clear. She said, I told Nyobli Kanga and Dylan, when they were trying to get rid of Zygo, I told them that it was the wrong thing to do. So when you're talking about if you say somebody had an ulterior motive, wouldn't that be Nyobli Kanga and Dylan before the election?
Mention Nyobli Kanga's name.
No, listen to this.
No, but
if you have that clip, can we see just a little bit of that clip? I sent it to you earlier.
You never mentioned her name. I listened to it.
No, we do. It's not just about you and myself. It's about the audience. Let them listen, because they have not listened to it, and they will be clear.
Representing the facts.
It will be clear here that she said it.
Please.
Go ahead,
Mr. One at a time.
Oh, no. I'm just saying the audio in her pronouncement, she made it clear. I told them why they were trying to stage this coup to get rid of Zago.
I told them.
She said, I told them. Nyobli Kanga and Dylan, they were here, and I told them.
One at a time, gentlemen. Tulay, you can come here and make clarification. Go ahead, Mr. Gibbon.
Yes, Mr. Sear, if you have that clip, please play it. If not, we'll be talking while you look for it. But the audience, they blame that you're trying to shift. That it was Musa ability that came to wrestle power away from the Liberty Party. It's not so. And we also want to look at the fact that you are saying that you guys have the numbers and ability has none. But guess what? When it comes to sending names and candidates to NEC for registration, only the legitimate leader of that party can submit names.
They will run as independents, bro. What are you talking?
Well, then that's fine. So then obviously, then they think about the Liberty Party being yours. If you're going to leave the Liberty Party and run as an independent, then you have been defeated.
We are not defeated, Mr. Gaiman. You're not playing this thing right. Let me say something to you before you go anywhere with this. Mr. Gaiman, we cannot beat Musa Belete in a court of law in Liberia right now. The reason is very simple. Musa Belete is functioning under the aegis of the executive. There's no way we'll beat him at NEC. There's no way we'll beat him in a court of law, no matter how legitimate or how strong our case may be. I told you here that a constitution, the 2015 constitution, was abrogated illegally to make him chairman. On that basis alone, and the basis that they defrauded Emmanuel Azango of his seat as vice chair in a same convention, and he had a legitimate case that is already in court, but it's a futile attempt. Nothing is going to come out of that case, Mr. Gaiman, because at the end of the day, what Belete is doing, he's doing it at the behest of people in the government, including the president himself. They paid him. He's a contractor right now, and he's carrying out his duties. My point to you is this. That thing is already a foregone conclusion. There is no way any other person outside of the Belete camp is going to register a party. But guess what? They don't have the people. So those people that will continue to run in the next election, we have to do it in an independent way. It's just a matter of fact. They will do it in opinion. But you know what? When we take our party back, when we remove George Weah in 2023, the leadership of NEC then will not rule according to the dictates of the executive of this present government.
Great. Let's listen to this young lady here.
Because Brodsky had too much power. You're getting me?
Yes.
There's certain people said that the leadership structure must be changed. I said this here is not correct. I went to the leadership and I said to them, I beg y'all don't rush to change this here. I went there was COVID-19 time. The old man was in the US because my father had just passed. In March, she said to me, come. I don't know what happened with the COVID-19. Come see me. I took the last Kenya Airways flight to go to the US to be with Mrs. Brumskin, my mother. The airport closed. March, April, May, June, and July. I could not come. When they opened the airport in July of 2020, I came back. When I came back, I heard they were coming to change the structure and make Musa Belete chairman. I said, look, this thing here is not correct because my pa has not been dead for 1 year yet. I beg y'all hold it. Y'all wait. Don't cheat shit. The old man left normally as the political leader. The old man left Steve Zago as the chairman. The old man left Musa Belete as the advisory chair. Y'all don't cheat it. Give respect in our African culture. When somebody died, you will wear black at least for 1 year. And I thought, how you will change the constitution, you will change the structure. It has not been 1 year before my father died. He died. Many people decided because I wanted to hold on. They say they won't get her. She holding on to Bronsky legacy. We need a new Liberty Party. They started to fight me. They fight, which is they started again. They say I wanted the party to CDC. What was CDC there? What is CDC there? The people say I want to carry the party to you. They don't know the party they say yeah. The people say I want to carry the party to CDC. I say but when now? How can you work here? And not even that elected position in the party. How will carry party to CDC? Why are you in here? I am not here again. Something I'm fighting my own brother. I want carry party to CDC. But that man and my brother, me and he would talk. We know the propaganda he on, but me and he would talk. So the next thing they say, when the CDC didn't work, then they say my pa died, he left me, I'm going to say $5 million. The money I took it, I will give it to the Liberty Party. $5 million. Me tell you something, I get $5 million, you know, $5 million. Where do we $5 million? But these were the lies they were propagating against me because at that time I said, I beg you, don't change the structure yet. Now, I want to talk something that some people will not like. My problem, you have to listen. That thing is too important. Said, don't change the structure. It was not because I had problems with usability, but we had a structure. Every entity, every association, every organization, every political group, when you have a structure, you don't just come and jack and change it because you want to change it. You are chairman. I can't come today and say, I won't move you. Because you have tenure, you are elected. You must engage in some bad acts, some misconduct before I can move you. And that's all. So I told the people, we have a structure in place. No, don't cheat it. They started saying, I won't fight. And I fought. But I did not fight against an individual. Let it be clear. At that time, I was not fighting against Musa. I was fighting for Liberty Party and the structure. You're following me? Yeah. But they decided to change it anyway. As I said, I had no power to do anything. I was not a member of the executive committee. I could do.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from Miss Charlene. I think the part she was coming to was that she said that the palace coup that Dylan, and she called names. She said Dylan
She
and
called
Yombi.
no
She
name
did.
over there.
She did. She said that the man tenure had not expired. She told them legally the man tenure had not expired. They went and got him out of there and made Musa Ability chair. Now, what is happening here? It is not that it just fell out of the blue sky. Okay, it was orchestrated by your side, Mr. Tulay. And you are saying here that Musa Ability just came in to wrestle power away from you. No, that was not the case.
You don't know what happens.
There you go.
This is disingenuous, Mr. Gayman. I am not absorbing. Let me say this to you. I'm not absorbing Yombly or Didon in their role, in their part of making Ability or chair of Liberty Party. If they had not agreed and they have not given their tacit support to the whole deal, it wasn't going to go through. But I've said it to you here many times, and I'm surprised that you have chosen to ignore everything that I've said. I am aware of the inner workings of my party. You are not. You are listening to other people on the outside there, which is not fair.
Okay,
let me just. She made something that I will go to. She made a point that I will go to. She mentioned money. The people who engineered this thing, were those vice chairmen in the party and other party leaders who were outside, who didn't have elected position in government, like Delon and Yombly. And one of them even told me that Yombly and Delon already got money coming to them on a monthly basis, and all the other elected people coming to them. What about us? So Belletti had promised them, and he had started giving them money. So Steve Zago, they went and told Steve Zago, said, Steve Zago, you can get money to support the party. In fact, the Labour, one kid stood up to speak and he mentioned it. They told Steve Zago, say, you can get money to run the party. Billington said he got money to run the party. He will spend his money and everything. So step aside so Billington can take over. That is exactly what happened. They told me, I was angry with, let me tell you something, Mr. Gibbon. I was angry with Yombly and Dillon. And I had a conversation with one of the vice chairman, who is member of the executive committee and supports Billington. And he disavowed the statement that I made that it was Yombly and in private now. That Yombly, I hold my political leader responsible for this. The man said, no. I wasn't there. I mean, I'm in Canada here. The man said, no. Let me correct you. It wasn't Dillon and Yombly. We were the one that went to Billington and told Billington to step aside because we wanted Billington to take over for the party because he had money to spend to run the party on a day-to-day basis. Steve Zago did not have money to give us to run the party on a day-to-day basis. Matter of fact, Steve Zago, Yombly, and Dillon, they got 15, 16, 20,000 coming to them on a monthly basis. What about us?
Well,
that's how they even accused her. That's how they even accused her of getting money from her father and refusing to give to them to run the party.
Okay.
This is just a handful of people.
But let's do this. Mr. Sia, you the political persons here. We seen the major party brewing here. We know very well sooner or later, 2023, political parties are going to be submitting names of candidates. Mr. Tulay just had a breaking news here on our show that all people from the Liberty Party that want to run, that will be supporting Nyobli Kanga and her faction, they will run as independents, not as Liberty Party, because they know now that if Nyobli Kanga and her faction submit names, the Constitution does not allow that to happen. So they now have come up with an agreement or have settled that this is now going to be everybody go their own separate way. What says you? How do you see this as a politician?
Thank you. Tulay is right. And it is easy because, first of all, like Tulay had acknowledged, Liberty Party has been recognized by the election governing body as the legitimate chair of the party. And these other political actors are in disagreement with Musa Billington being head. In fact, they have their own faction. And because their faction is not recognized by NEC and it is not Liberty Party legally, they cannot run on Liberty Party ticket. NEC will not allow that. So the option they have is, number one, to run independent. If they solely want to run on Liberty Party's ticket, then they have to come together as partisans to resolve this conflict. Let me come to this whole audio thing we're talking about. I agree with Tulay. When she mentioned it, she said, I met my big sister. All right? Now, that's what she said. And the other time she spoke generally. She was referring to all the leaders of the party. That I warned them, I pleaded with them that changes should not be made now.
No.
My father has just passed. He even went further by saying traditionally when a law family person, pass, we at least give 1 year in recognition of the person passing. Sometimes we wear the black clothes. We the Southeasterners, we do that. I don't know, two the people on your side do that too, to wear black.
Not much. We know, we do it, but we don't do it to that level the way the Southeasterners do it.
Okay. So, and she said that. So let us give this at least a year. Mm-hmm. But she said that, but they all said, no, we want a new Liberty Party.
One leadership.
So she was speaking in general to all the leaders. Mm-hmm. She didn't mention one person in particular. All right. So that's what she said. And then they decided that they would make changes. The changes were made. They got the Constitution of 2021, mm-hmm. and it was at that convention Musa was elected. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I enjoy my man Tulay. When Tulay sees it right, he says it, even though he's in a party. He acknowledged that Dillon and Yombly cannot be absolved from this decision that is haunting the party today. In fact, he went further by saying, had they not agreed, because they were the two influential leaders in that party, right? Had they not agreed that they should make these changes, those changes would not have been done, because at that time they were the influential leaders. They could say, no, let's pay homage to Brunskin, let's wait a little bit, just as Charlene is saying. I mean, but that was it. Now, the decision they made to change the constitution and to elect Bility, I don't see what is the problem with that. The problem they are having here is because they are divided on who the Liberty Party should support in the CPP that is not dead. That is their disagreement. If they were in agreement that they should support Ben Amin or Cummings, this would not have come to this level. In fact, we heard that from the very beginning, Dillon and Yomley were leaning Cummings. That time there was no noise. That was when even Dillon had to go on the justification mission that Bility was that Saul who now turned to Paul. You understand? There's a favorite picture. I don't know if we still have it here. Bear with me a quiet. Let me see if we have it here. I think I took it off. Yeah, I took it off. When Manasseh went to meet them.
Ansony.
Yes.
I posted something on our chat. I hope you've seen it.
Okay. I will try to load that. Okay. I will
when
do
you
that.
finish, please.
Yeah, I will do that. So Manasseh, and there where Tulay is reading beyond the news that you see, he's going deep as an insider. Say, look, Manasseh is up to something yet. I've not seen the evidence yet, but I know Ellen has influence on Dillon. Ellen has influence on Nyomley. And Nyomley, Ellen met them at some point. Now, there's speculation that Ellen is in Arawia's corner or Cummings' corner. And that's where Tulay is coming in. Now, I don't have the facts yet. But at the same time, I'm not ruling that out because Ellen is a player. Ellen does not want Bouaka to be president. And that is Mr. Bouaka's greatest problem that he has not been able to solve. I'm not coming to Bouaka. I'm going to spare him today. But the point I'm making here is Liberty Party is where it is today because the party leaders are not in one agreement as to whom to support for the CPP candidacy. And that is their problem.
That's great. Okay, that's your take. Now, that being the case, we are in Bassa and we are seeing the violence. And I know we got to go to the next topic here, but we've seen the violence and the vandalism in our county. This is the county of rule of law according to the Liberty Party own constitution here. Reconciliation, rule of law, those are the hallmark of the Liberty Party. You saw, if you have a clip of that video or the picture, you saw what the group of men came and said, our leader, our political leader will not allow you to come and settle shop here. Hence, we are going to destroy, if possible, burn down the building. And up to today's date, not Mr. Tulay, not Nyomli Kanga, not Darius Dillon, not Jonathan Kape, nobody has come up to condemn what is happening in Basel, and it's a national security issue because there was another group that came on the show that said, the next time you come out here to destroy our building, we are going to attack you. Now you have seen two factions that violence is brewing at the behest of those who support the Liberty Party, like Mr. Tulay, and the group that we are talking about since we've been on this show. Mr. Tulay have not once condemned the violence that going on in my hometown and people that will be affected sooner or later. Mr. Tulay, let me give you an opportunity here to denounce violence for once.
Mr. Gimme, this is a lame attempt at gamemanship. The reality here is this: I do not condone violence.
Thank you.
But I'm a realist, and I'm telling you where I think comes from. Let me give you some. Let me put some meat around it for you to understand it more. There's a young man called Alexander Bearden. Alex was the station manager of Royal Communications, George Weah entity. and he was the one that invited me to come and host the show. Be a host on Kings FM and Cloud TV. So we've had a good relationship over that's it. It's something mature. Alex is a high maintenance person because Alex, when Charles Bronski was alive, he fought Charles Bronski in Grand Bassa tooth and nail. He and the what a guy named Basigia fought Charles Bronski in Grand Bassa tooth and nail. All right. Bronski is dead. One of the guys who engineered the ability to take over Liberty Party is a friend of Alex. So he and Alex now, they're working. They are the ones that I told Musa to provide them with, you know how difficult it is to get the channel, the high quality set. Is it the channel? What the name of it? Not channel, the frequency.
The frequency.
It's difficult to get frequency. They're the one I told Musa to buy a transmitter for them to open the radio station in Grand Bassa County. They are the ones, because Alex has been working on seat. He has worked against every candidate that Liberty Party has fielded in Grand Bassa County, especially in Buchanan. He even contested in Buchanan, he lost. So Alex now, he considers himself now a member of Liberty Party. He working with Ability and this Daniel guy. And let me tell you, he's so polarizing and inflammatory and provocative that he has managed, their rhetoric had managed to divide the people and made the other people who are normally docile to say, okay, we dare you to come here. Am I condoning their stance? No. But I'm just telling you the reality on the ground. If Alexander Biede was not injected into that situation right now, it was only Daniel Basiji and the other people didn't, you would have never seen that thing turn into a conflagration. But the way he talks and the way they demean people, and they're telling them, oh, they got car, Musa Bede got car, the people broke, the people hungry, they put this. Mr. Gaiman, in a political field, as much as we say we check the responses of those who are responding in violence, we also tell people do not provoke your opponents. Because when you provoke people and you go and stand in their faces and you tell them stuff and you challenge them, they will say, okay, we only said that we will stand up against you. So until they can come to the table of brotherhood and discuss this Liberty Party thing, there will be problem in Buchanan. I'm just telling you now. There will be problem between them because guess what? They did some renovation. People went there and vandalized it. I'm against it. But I'm also telling you that if you put equipment there, they will also attack it and they will burn it down. The reason why they will do that, because you keep saying things to enrage them. You keep saying things. You already wrestle the party that they hold so dear, that they're passionate about, from them. And now you are saying things that you're poking them in the eye. And when they give a reaction, say, oh, the people being violent. I don't condone violence, but I'm also telling you from the other side, do not go provoking people. This guy wasn't a member of the party. He has always been key against the party in Buchanan. Now he said he member of the Liberty Party because Musa Bede got money to give him. So he's working against the people. I'm just telling you the reality.
Okay, well, that's great. Mr. Tulay, anybody can become member of any political party at any time. And there is no reason that you will violate the Liberian Constitution by impeding the movement and progress of other folks. Mr. C, I know you are looking for something. I don't know what is it you are looking for. I know you've been doing a lot of work there. But let's kind of pivot to the next topic here. I know we have spent almost an hour on the Liberty Party because we're doing this because it is very dear to my co-host, Tulay's heart here. And this ship is sinking. So we try to give him a safety net. We send him a speedboat, a tugboat to bring him up to ship. But let's go to global issue here.
Get on Tulay there, but Tulay is playing smart.
Listen, we got here, Mr. Tulay and Mr. C, the issue on a global level today in Florida.
You with Liberty Party in Liberia now?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the time. I'm looking at the time. Let's go ahead.
I'm surprised that you're not bashing Yombly today I'm surprised because you're trying to put
Mr.
Oh,
Gibbon,
God, don't
I
do
think
Yes.
let's talk a little bit on
no.
the CPP aspect and also the suspension, right? And then
Okay.
we can go to the global
But
stage. I think
that's
Tulay
fine.
is
I don't
right
want Mr. Tulay to think that I'm here bashing Dylan and Yobli Kanga.
there. And
But
so, Mr. Tulay,
let's look at the legality of what we are talking about here. Listen, when we are talking about de facto and de jure, when we're talking about people who are in power, who the state, because we are law-abiding citizens, we have the Constitution, and the Constitution empowers us as organizations to have bylaws that governs us. And the constitutional government establishes and acknowledges that bylaws, which you say this is the law that will govern us, and you take that law and you register it at the net and say this is the law from now on that will govern us. And that law is now recognized. When that law now comes back to haunt you, you cannot unilaterally say, well, this law is against me now, so we're no longer going to abide by this law. The law has recognized Mr. Ability as a legitimate chair, and his constitutional rights are all available to him. The Constitution also says that all members have to pay their dues, and the dues are ranked according to your position in the party. And the political leader's due is $1,500 a month. And that was established and agreed upon. The political leader have not paid dues now going on 16 months. That's over $20,000. Ms. Ability as chairman has the legal right to suspend those who are not paying their dues. Mr. Sear, you're looking at the Constitution as I am looking at. Now we are looking at a suspension. If Musa Ability, according to expulsion, excuse me, look at suspension now, ultimately after 90 days, according to the Constitution, expulsion. I don't think Mr. Tulay is denying or arguing that. If that is the case, what does that say about Dylan and Yobli Kanga and their fight to restore this party or wrestle it away from
it says a whole lot about them, that these are not responsible leaders. These are not serious leaders. These are leaders who have refused to be examples to the people they lead by paying their meeting dues. Now, anyone can fall behind. That is a fact. But when you fall behind, you try to do the right thing. They had 3 months given to them after they were suspended for not paying dues to pay their dues. While they were serving their 3 month suspension, before and during, these people collected a lot of money. They are senators. I don't want to dwell on the other leaders because I don't have record of them working. I don't know. But I know Dylan is working. Dylan collected the $25,000 for accessibility, even though he lives right there in Morovia and doesn't go anywhere else other than going on his phone to go live. He collected $30,000 actually for accessibility. He collected it 2 times. That is $60,000. Besides that, they are making pretty close to $10,000 a month. And other money that they get that you and myself do not know from their committees and all that. I'm saying to say that Mr. DeLong is a senator who makes a lot of money and should be able to pay his dues.
Okay.
Senator Yobli Kanga Lawrence is a senator who makes a lot of money and should also be able to pay her dues. They were suspended, they were given time to pay, they don't pay. The reason they did not pay, and there was a deliberate decision they made that we're not going to pay. And that deliberate decision was that, who is Musa Berete? He's not a legitimate chairman. Come on, it's not Musa Berete, it's the party dues we're talking about here. But they didn't see the party, they saw Musa. And that is the only reason why they did not pay the due. And that is unacceptable on their part as leaders. And this is what the Liberty Party Constitution says. And at Cycle A here, the specific portion. Members who are not in good standing shall not be allowed to hold any office within the party. And if such member holds a position in the party, elected or appointed, she shall be suspended from the office by the neck, and the neck suspending them, until she shall be resumed the status of member in good standing. If after 3 months such member is still delinquent, she shall be permanently removed from the office and may also be expelled. So the NEC, in consultation with Mr. Musa Ability, they acted in line with the Liberty Party constitution and not the constitution of Musa Ability, not the constitution of a faction, but the constitution of the party that DeLong and Yombly provided a leadership. This constitution, they were the ones that know we got to go to convention. In this agreement, they know the advice of Charlene and many other leaders. They say we'll do it. This is their very decision, and they are facing the weight of their own decision to not have paid their dues. They were in error, and I think they are expelled today from the party.
Let me give a retort to that. The very chairmanship of Musa Ability is under contestation. And based on that, we're not going to do anything to acknowledge the leadership of Musa Ability. We're not going to do. And I'll tell you something. Mm-hmm. In that nonsense list that Musa Ability created, they got people in that place that have spent more than $200,000 on Liberty Party. This list, there are men in this list who have supported us entirely for 2 election circles. They took their capital. In fact, the very genesis of Liberty Party fell on the shoulder of people on that list financially. The very genesis, not just Dan Bronsky. Because I was there, I would take their money and go spend it. So the issue here is Musa Ability did not just go against Yombly and Dillon. He went against every other person that initially said, don't do it. We're against this. And I have said, we told you. We told you, don't make the man chairman. We knew what was going to happen and what we told you. So you didn't listen. This is where we are today. So Musa added that list. Those who are in disagreement with him.
So but list, is it true that they didn't pay their dues though?
Of course. But it's not that I'm not contesting that issue. That's an established fact. And I told you here before, and I've said it to you many times. We have not had a due-paying regime at Liberty Party. It's in the Constitution. But
Mr.
let me finish. Let me finish. You can't
give me a chance. Give Mr. Tulay a chance.
We have not had a due-paying regime at Liberty Party. What happened? Those who were earmarked or they decided that they were going to hold position at any convention. Before the convention, they did your 6 months back payment or whatever, or some of the dues for the the position you say you're going to hold even as a common member of the party. If your leader, they pay some money. That's what they did, but it was never in the party. And I can dare anybody to challenge me on this. We have never had a due paying regime where every month somebody, it's not me. Every month we have the financials of the party, or every quarterly they come and say these are the financials of the party and these are the due paying members or whatever. It had never been in Liberty Party. Now, does that mean it should not be instituted? No, that's not what I'm saying. But to use that now, something that had not been instituted as a regime in the party, to use that now as a means of excommunicating those that disagree with you from the party is draconian. That is my point.
Okay, Mr. Tulay, not because it have not been used. You and I agree that it is part of the Constitution that was agreed to. It is part of the law. Not because it has not been applied doesn't mean it is not there. Just recently, there was a black man that was killed in Georgia here, where the young man was jogging in the neighborhood, and the racists surrounded the young man and killed him. Not only were they guilty, but the federal government went and drafted also rules that are akin to exclusive to the federal government, and they went back and used those laws to persecute these guys, even if they were found not guilty on the local level. Not because the law has not been applied means it's not there. But so Musa Ability has a constitutional right to run a political party. He's a businessman. He's running it as it's supposed to be run.
Mr. Gaiman, you will support anything that is rotting. Just
no,
listen,
I'm a constitutionalist.
Mister, I'm asking you a question. Show me one political party in Liberia. Just
that is not an argument.
Regime.
That is not an argument. That is not an argument. But I can show you political party that have it on the books.
Yeah, but I ask you.
But if it's on the books,
hold on now. Before you can take action against people based on a rule, that rule must have been enforced. If the rule had not been enforced and you're a leader, you come on and say, my people, this is where we are right now. Henceforth, with my assumption or resumption of office, going forward, this rule will be enforced because it's by the Constitution. Prior to this, it had never been enforced, but now it's going to be enforced. You don't do that. You don't have a due-paying regime in a party. You come and say, I'm suspending you people because you haven't paid your dues. Think about it. The people, the Wade, hold on now, the Wade, the Ability, and the rest of them. I asked one of them the last time. I said, where's the record of your due paying in Liberty Party? None of them can show it to you.
Yes,
that did a record
where their power was able to produce or do paying. In fact, she gave the report that nobody can send money from the United States here through her, and they say that. But what I'm saying here is, you cannot tell me not because the chairman has the right to Mr. Tulay. You and I agree that Ability has the right. The Constitution gave him the right. So for you to say, because it has never been done before, it shouldn't be done, it's preposterous.
Mr. Gaiman, that's not what I'm saying.
That's what you were saying.
No.
Okay, Mr. Tulay, Mr. C. Let's go to some comment real quick before we transition to the next one.
When you're dealing with me, don't try to twist my words.
I'm not twisting it. I'm just telling you.
What I do on this show, I provide clarity. I provide clarity of thought.
As you see it.
I don't leave
no,
things.
It is clear to you, but it's not clear to me because the clarity to me is the Constitution. I'm a constitutionalist. I love it as it is written.
Mr. Gaiman, I just said to you that there is no political party in Liberia that has.
That's not the point. That is not the argument. The argument is it is constitutional.
Okay. All right, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's constitutional. We ain't get a problem with that.
Okay.
What we are saying to you, it has never been.
But that is not my argument. Let's see. Let's go to the comments.
For you to come now in this day and age to say without any context, to just get and say, "Oh, I'm reverting to the rule that is on the book." If you,
it's on the books. It's on the books. Let's go to the comment, Mr. C.
You haven't paid your dues according to the rule on the book, so I'm going to suspend you for 3 months. That's what we call drag. And guess what? Let me tell you something. I said it. I will say it.
Let's go to the comment, Mr. Tulay.
Hold on, Mr. Gaiman. I'm talking. I said this. Mr. Gaiman, I got right on the show, Jedi YouTube. So let me express myself. And we're talking about my Liberty Party. You will not just brush me off like that. That is unacceptable. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't buy that right now.
The Liberty Party killing this guy. Go ahead.
You will not just make sour tessy and statements about my party and I will just let it go like that. No,
let's go. Go ahead.
Mr. Gaiman, let me say this to you. I will say this to you. The issue here is this ability. That's why you see him trying to. Yes, you should. That's why you see. I think that thing is a pseudonym. It's not a real name. Let me tell you, you should realize that ability proved his detractors, those who said you don't give the party to this man because we know those people. He was authorized by others. I can speak to that because I have a heritage of that particular ethnic group. And that ethnic group has always proven to be a people that are untrustworthy. And you know what it has done? Let
No,
me tell
Mr.
you what it has
Tulay,
done.
we can't go
No,
that far.
Mr. Gamer, let me
We
just
don't
say
want
it
you
to
to
you.
do that.
Say,
We don't want you to do that. Let's keep it
you
to
will
the
hear me.
subject.
You will
Gentlemen.
hear me. You will hear me because I come from that.
No.
You
Let
know
us
what
not go.
happening? You know
Let us
what's
not
going to
go
happen
there.
now?
Let us not go there.
Any other undertaking by anybody from my group, somebody will say, don't trust them. This thing is uncalled for. We have to show that we are part of the Liberian experience and that we can be trusted. That we are not people that will always go back on our words, that will always try to supplant people, that will always try to usurp processes. It is wrong. And that is what we have. People are looking for. It is wrong.
Mr. Tulay, that's
Gentlemen.
tribal politics. Let us not go
It's
into
not
tribal
tribal politics,
politics.
the reality.
Mr. C, let's
Gentlemen.
go to the
That
comments.
made progress. But
Gentlemen, I will let us to do this. On point, been a long time we didn't hear the callers. We always done comments. I would like for us to give
Let's do it, please.
callers the opportunity. So now that we are announcing it, for me, I don't have interest anymore in the Ukraine thing. If you don't mind, I can give Tulay maybe 2 minutes. I mean, I don't. This is
Let's go. Let's go. Let's resolve this Liberty Party thing because it is his baby. It is his
Yeah,
thing. So let's resolve it. Let's make it soft.
Yeah, let's deal with the Liberty Party. We have a caller here, and folks, you can start calling right now. Let me bring in this caller here. Caller, let's hear you quickly. Your name and where you joining us from.
Oh, my name is Desmond Finley, and I'm calling from Australia.
Okay, Desmond, hold on. Let me connect this to the speaker here quickly so they can be able to hear you loud and clear. I hope that will work. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
No, I don't know. For some reason, it's not connected to the speaker. Hold on there. I don't know why it's not connected to it.
What about now?
Okay, yeah, it's good now. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, yeah, I just want to make a point to Mr. Tulay's point. Mr. Tulay was talking earlier about Musability and Joshua versus Musability and Cummings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to point out something that is mutually exclusive to his in logic from what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying Musability joined Liberty Party, became Liberty Party chairman to turn over Mr. Cummings to CDC. He essentially as a plant of the CDC to cause chaos in the CDC and therefore end result CDC be the beneficiary.
Mm-hmm.
Now he turns around and says the same Musability now is going to Mr. Cummings, to say, Mr. Cummings, make me your vice presidential candidate, or else. So in his ideology, his logic here is it's not, for me, it's not mutually exclusive. It's mutually exclusive to the point that if Mr. Cummings decides that yes, I want Musability, so Mr. Musability is going to spend his money and his time running against himself to lose. That's what he's trying to tell our people. That Musability is a plan. If this is a plan, why will he ask for a vice presidential seat? And one thing here I also want to point out, Mr. Tulay comes on the show with a lot of these things. You know, the other person say, the other person say, the other person say. Next, Mr. Kenya, I listen to you guys a lot. Let me provide some facts. I want you to push back on it. They say the other person call, the other person call. We don't get what they say, my man. But come and bring some facts. Get some
your opinion.
Don't tell me this because I was in Liberty Party hierarchy in 2005 to 2003. That doesn't give you no validity now. And you turn around and say again because they haven't prosecuted people for paying their dues. They shouldn't do it now.
Who said? You see, you're not only messing
Let
with
him land.
No, but you will not. That the kind of thing maybe that land where? Why would he land when the man just established?
We're not going to fight with the caller. We'll have our time to respond.
Did I say that they shouldn't pay dues? That's why I said they shouldn't pay dues to the party. I just gave you the facts on the ground.
No, you didn't say that.
But then why are you saying I said it?
You didn't say that. You said. Hey, my friend, just slow down, smoke. You're not arguing here. You don't.
We arguing. Don't do that because when you lie on me, then it becomes.
Let's do it one at a time. You have your time. You have more time than he does.
I said you were saying that because you had a system that wasn't prosecuting people. It wasn't a due paying regime, your exact quotation, a due paying regime.
Yeah.
Now that somebody is asking people to pay their dues, you have what's the problem you have with that?
He didn't ask them. He just suspended them.
What?
The due pay issue only came about when they resisted his leadership. So he used that because the people already been challenging your leadership.
Listen to me. Can you please listen to me for a second? My question to you is this: even if it came out because of that, is it wrong?
Oh, it's wrong.
How is it wrong?
It's wrong.
That's in the Constitution.
No. It's not about paying dues. You should understand this. You see, the problem with you Liberian people, you don't like for people to be factual. You don't like for people to speak the truth.
But this is a constitutional matter.
It's a constitutional matter. What that have to do with truth?
Hold on. When Musa Bedete, brother, let's look at something. When Musa Bedete became chairman of the party,
you are discussing the reason behind the decision.
No. But yeah,
the guy is saying the decision is a constitutional matter, and he's acting upon the Constitution.
Ansony, but let's look at something now.
Oh, you say we should not look at the Constitution. We should look at what is behind it.
The Constitution, Ansony, please. You look at the Constitution. That's what's still on the line. He became chair in February of 2021. He did not raise the issue of due payment until there was a contestation about his leadership of the party.
He doesn't have to. Everybody have a copy of the Constitution.
No. You see, if you want to do reform, start with a reform. Don't wait when I say, hey, that your leadership is illegitimate. Then you say, pay me dues.
No.
If you don't pay me dues, I'll use the rules on the book and I will suspend you.
Mr. Tulay.
Yeah, Mr.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You can't defend this.
Mr. Tulay, when you join any organization, they give you the Constitution. And the Constitution, nobody has to warn you about reading your own Constitution and following the bylaws.
Can we take the caller, please?
Yeah, let's take the caller, man.
All right, Mr. Jimmy Eastman, let us hear you, sir.
Yes, gentlemen, I have been an ardent fan of this program because of the intellectual stature of the program. It proves to be unbiased and a place where we can go and learn things. But today, I heard some horrendous words being spoken by one of the panelists. Nowhere ever are we to speak against a fellow ethnic group in a discriminatory and defamatory manner. Mr. Tulay, you cannot paint any ethnic group with a wide brush. In fact, some of the groups that you attempted to paint just now have proven to be the foremost intellectual group in all Africa. In other words, they had an entire empire greater than any one of the other tribes have ever been able to accomplish. And here you are now defaming and bringing down another ethnic group, a fellow Liberian ethnic group. Nowhere should we tolerate that ever. First of all, there's no basis of it. It's not scientific. It is an opinion from your experiences, but we cannot ever allow ourselves to stoop so low to discriminate against our fellow brother for any ethnic.
Mr. Eastman, I want you to realize that I'm a Tulay. My middle name is Kane. And I'm saying something. If you go you're going to listen to Mr. Eastman. I respect your opinion, and I'm not trying to point out an ethnic group because I'll be speaking against my own heritage. I'm more Oloma Bandi than that because of time and everything. But I will say this to you: that I'm the kind of person that will say what people whisper in the corner. And I know sometimes it's very unpopular, but it's the reality, and we have to face it. Because there are times, you said people are not supposed to say that. I would agree. Yeah, because people are sensitive. People want to remain politically correct. I agree. But I will tell you something. In Liberia, till today, you go to Lofa, you go to Bong, you go to Nimba, you will face the same sentiments.
We have
And
more
we
callers
as a
to this, just so
people,
you know.
and people have to show that that stereotype is wrong. And the way you prove the stereotype wrong is by making sure that you keep your word and that you show that you are different.
See, let's go to the next
That is
call.
all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Okay,
Tulay.
let's go to
Sorry,
the,
if
let,
it
let,
comes
hear,
across,
let's hear the next call.
We have a lot of callers, gentlemen. This thing seems to be very hard here today.
yeah, because I
I'll
mentioned
take,
that one, so everybody want people on
Kimon.
it.
Kimon, please, you have a minute. Let's hear you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shea and and Tulay. My contribution is that Mr. Tulay has just proven that his desperation and arrogance surpass everything. So, because if nothing was being done in the past and it's on the book, you can execute it. And if somebody execute it now, then you accusing them of being untrustworthy and then putting a whole ethnic group into that, something that they are not trustworthy because of this. I don't think it's right because we remember there's a law in the Lebron Constitution before, if you kill the law, will kill you. That law was never done by any other president until William Tower King. So those people who killed William Tower killed them because the Constitution, William Tower didn't come on the air to say, as of today, I'm president. If anybody is killed now, I will kill them. So it is wrong for his image that he's laying over there. And then they are not even condemned the attitude of the talk in Grand Bassa, vandalizing people building. He justifying it because somebody want money from Musa ability. But this is wrong. I mean, I'm not challenging his education, but I'm challenging his attitude. He's very arrogant and dismissive of other people's right or other people's fight.
Thank you.
That he's the only one that can get fight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Kimon.
Before you take the next caller, I think I will.
Let's take a few of the calls. Just take that.
Take all the callers.
I won't be able to keep this. Let
But
me just say
write
this
it down.
quickly.
Write it down.
Just
Write it
30
down, Tulay.
seconds.
Let's take
I
the
only need
callers
30
and then you
seconds
can
to respond
respond.
to this.
Please, Tulay. Let's bring in Saros Swan. Mr. Swan, you have a minute, please. Tulay, please write it down, bro.
No, I can't. I will just forget about it because I'm
Okay,
not.
I'll write it down for you.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I want to say thanks to the entire group and thanks to Focus on Africa and / Liberia. Thank you, everybody. I want to direct my comment to Mr. Tulay. Look, Mr. Tulay, I understand that you believe in Arizona Cummings and Mr. Ability support Mr. Cummings. So it is in your interest to see Mr. Ability flourish. But
Are you sure, brother?
Tulay, let
But
it
no,
be
but the whole premise of his
Well,
statement. I'm right.
Tulay, let it be talk.
Tulay supports Mr. Boakat just for the correction. So you can go ahead.
That was a mistake. I was directly talking about Mr. Boakai.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry for my point. I apologize. What I was trying to say is, Tulay, you support Mr. Boakai, and it is not in your interest for Mr. Ability to implement the rules on the book. And because of that, it's not going down well with you. But let's be clear now. If we want to make Liberia great, if we want to make Liberia better, all of our advocates say we should be honest with ourselves. The Constitution of the Liberty Party says, if you not pay your dues, if you not pay your dues on time, and after a certain time, the leadership of the party can call you and have a conversation with you for you to pay your dues. And after that conversation, when you still refuse to pay your dues, they go by the book and they suspend you, and afterward you can even be expelled. So by you accusing Mr. Ability for simply following the Constitution of the Liberty Party, my brother, then I question your advocacy for a better Liberia. Because if you want to take power through Mr. Boakai tomorrow, you have to follow our Constitution.
You have to follow the laws. You won't be doing things outside the book.
Thank you, brother.
All right. This is the point I have to say something before you come in. Thank you, sir. I am not. No, please. No, you can't do this to me. Hold on. Wait. They're not. No. My point. No, guys.
Tulay, we gotta follow the policies here.
That I have the right to defend.
We understand this, but
I can just sit here and
there are procedures. Mr. Tulay, we got procedures here. The procedure is he reads. We get a comment, and you respond.
Yes,
I don't have to wait until all the comments come in.
That's the rule. That's how it works.
We haven't done it like that here. You know
it. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. That's how they have done it all the time.
Because
we have the caller waiting.
Right?
Okay, can we get to the caller? Please go ahead, Harrison.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call. So before I ask my question, I just want to say, Mr. Tulay, you just said Mr. Ability, from a certain ethnic group, have certain kind of a behavior. I think your behavior tonight is really proving otherwise. But anyways, my question is, on what basis, which document was used for Mr. Ability leadership to be questioned? That's my question. Which document or which foundation was Mr. Ability leadership was questioned? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me take this caller. That is Elliot. Ending in 5916. Please, you have a minute. Please stop listening to your monitor. Take the call. That caller seems not to be really Mr. Tulay. We will give you the chance to speak. Go ahead, Tulay.
I'm not being recalcitrant. I'm just being factual. Like Ben Point, let her hear the fact. I said to you guys, and I will say it again. And if this doesn't make any sense to you people, then you can go ahead with your narrative. It doesn't matter to me. Belete became chair in February 2021. There was no discussion with any group of people in the party. Guys, we have to pay our dues. Okay, so going forward, I'll be collecting dues. And if nobody pays their dues, I will take action against them since I'm the chair of the party. There was no such discussion in Liberty Party. Like I said, no political party in Liberia, Liberty Party is not exclusive, has established a due-paying regime to say all the members are committed to the party and are due-paying members. Or the only way you can get voice in the party is that you pay. It had never been like that. Okay, so Belete became chair in February. And he never brought up the issue of due payment. There was no action taken against anybody for non-due payment until his chairmanship was contested. And that chairmanship became contested after Madam Salif asked our political leader to support Cummings, and she refused. So Belete now decided that he was going to take the party, no matter what, who said what, to support Cummings. When the rift started in the party and the polling and pulling started, Belete was looking for somebody. So when they challenged the legitimacy of Belete's chairmanship, Belete said, "Oh, you people have not paid your dues." So I am not against due payment, but I'm against using the law on the books that had up to that moment never been enforced, using it against your political opponents and the party. That is what I'm against. I am not saying we shouldn't pay dues, but since we have not been paying dues, it should have come to the general body. The leadership of the party should have said, you know what, going forward, the chairman is saying it, going forward, we'll be paying dues going forward. From February, he did not bring it up until around October, November, towards the end of the year, when they contested the legitimacy of his chairmanship. Then he said, oh, you're owed dues. And they already said, based on the 2015 Constitution, which was abrogated to make him chairman, and then they also challenged the legitimacy of the 2021 Constitution in a court of law, and therefore they challenged his right to be chairman of the party. Belete decided that he would use a law on the books that had never been enforced, that is not applicable, it has not been applied, or it has not been adhered to by the general body policy of Liberty Party. He decided to scrap it up now and use it against his political opponents. That will call draconian. Those are dictatorial, tyrannical tendencies. That's being draconian.
All right.
Let's
take the last caller if you're done. Let's take the last caller. Caller on the line. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yes. My name is Prince and Sharif, and I call you from the East Coast.
Is this the guy who goes by We Are Baron? Is that We Are Baron?
Yes, I am a seditious, a We Are Baron, and a patriotic Liberian. I followed His Excellency President Dr. St. George Mane Fokekron Usman Bekugbe Buya.
You forgot about Sekou said. How did Sekou say that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
you got your friend here. He called himself unabashed, unapologetic sedition. He's here.
Absolutely.
Are you guys receiving the 20,000?
These are all allegations that have no merit of truth in it.
All right.
And it is only because of our passion and our love to see a better Liberia that people continue to accuse us of receiving 20, 30. I wish I was receiving that amount. I will not work in America. I will not do 2 jobs. But anyway, let me say hi to your studio guest, and let me say hi to my own big brother, Mr. Gamer. Thank you so much for all you continue to do. We appreciate you. People like you sharpen our knowledge, and we always like to come on this platform and listen. But I want to say something here very quick to my brother Tulay. He is making a point, and he's entitled to it. But for what I'm seeing from my brother Tulay, in words and his own, assertion, one, I'm seeing a lack of political maturity to be able to stand the heat that is coming from people who disagree with him. I'm seeing him getting very emotional. And this is where some of us as physicians, we have the leverage over so many people. Because we have the ability to be able to, catacomb our own political, atmosphere to suit what we want. So you even come with your anger. There is a way and manner in which we are trained to be able to cool down that anger and put forth our point. So I just want to advise my brother that, I understand it's not easy. He's under the heat, especially interacting with somebody like you and Mr. Gamer is going to be very tough. But I want him to actually, slow down a bit. The second thing I see is that my brother is struggling to argue this issue of ability, intervention by using the law. My brother needs to understand that the law is on the book. I would have agreed with him if this law is not on the book. We are arguing the issue of legality. Now, the action of misability, is it legal? No, forget about the timing. Forget about when it was. He's trying to struggle about the issue of draconia or this or that. No, it's not draconia. Let us ask ourselves the question. Is this particular law, is it on the book? Is it enshrined within their constitution? If it is enshrined, then it means my brother Tulay argument die upon arrival. If I say, we lost time 25 years ago before we could even talk now. The second issue I hear my brother saying, and which is very bad, and this is the kind of politics that is destroying us gradually. A few days ago, we saw what happened in Grand Bassa County, where Madam Yombly Kanga Lawrence told some of our supporters to go and destroy a property that is in Grand Bassa County. That property is not in Cape Mount, it's not in Nimba, it's not in Zwedru, but it's right in Grand Bassa County. I listened to my brother talking about the issue of this tribal business. Even though we try to just put it under the carpet, but these are issues we'll continue to put out in the public. That's why we continue to tell our people that the end of the Yogi Kanga bloc or whatever bloc of the Liberty Party, these people are not serious in reconciling our people.
Thank you.
My brother Tulay to come here, listen to him talking about his name. Look,
yeah, man, 1 minute.
Whether your name is Momo, your name is Sankaburubara, or your name is how you call Sherry or whatever.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff.
At the statement, I'm coming. Let me end with this.
Yeah, please, quickly.
At the statement of you trying to, trouble live this whole thing. That this particular group is too arrogant. Look, my people that Tulay and the political ideology they represent is dangerous for our country. And
all right.
Thank you. But let us continue to listen because these are things will make us to make sound decision come 2023 to elect His Excellency President Dr.
I know that's how.
Thank God for you.
For the unification there to bring our country together.
Thank you. You forgot about the family in chief, right? And the people getting raped, and he's not talking, right? Well, we have to take of you, Prince. Mr. Tulay, I'm going to give you time. Mr. Gaiman, because of time, what do you do? Tulay?
Yeah, we just go close.
Let me say this.
Let him respond and then close so we can go.
Yeah, close.
Let me say this. I said to you, there were people in the party that objected to billeting. And I wasn't even part of the whole, I wasn't really paying attention to that thing that made billeting. I spoke against it, but I didn't share the views that I'm sharing here. And I'm sharing the views here because those are the things the people said. And some people are opposing, and this is Liberia, and that's why you people don't want to accept. We all know what we whisper in secret places, and we are afraid to come out to establish the things that we thought. We're not bold enough to speak what we whisper in secret out in the open because we are afraid of being branded. Me, I'm not afraid of being branded because I'm on the show every Sunday, and I know there are things that we say, people will say, yeah, they like it. There are things that I say, people say is controversial. There are things that I would say, the people say is darn right awful. And you got to take the package. Not everything, I don't have the filter other people have. I speak it from the reality. People objected and say, you put that man there, he will do X, Y, Z. And I'm telling you today, I have heard from them, and you say, and Desmond said he want me to bring what evidence. I don't record people conversation with me, bro. Never did. I don't blackmail people. I don't use things against people. I say it when you say it. I say it. You believe it, don't believe it. But once I prognosticate, it normally comes to pass. I told you, I said the man working on both sides. He got rid of us, the Yombri Black, True Neck, and executive ruling. We know what happens at NEC. The next thing that's happening now, he said he had a communication with his people that they were supposed to have a memorandum of understanding with ANC. Go ask, has he gone to ANC to go sit with them and say, this is, before even declaring his support for ANC, he should have sat with them to say, I will declare my support, but this is what we want. He didn't do it. He declared his support, then he come out when he's suspending or expelling people that he disagree with in the party. Then he say, "Oh, my initial declaration of support for ANC is under question. Is incumbent upon the establishment of a memorandum of understanding." That means we got to go into something. If I hold my position and I refuse to give in, then you and myself will part ways. That is what he's communicating. And I'm telling you today, I'm saying it here. We'll come back here. Belete will abandon Cummings because it is a game to him. He is following a script. The script is break up the CPP, abandon Cummings, support WIA so that he and Madam Salif can continue. He can continue owing the banks more than $5 million and he can't pay them. We're talking about paying Jews in Liberty Party. Why hasn't he paid the government, the banks in Liberia, the money that he owes them? Okay, so he has broken CPP. He has used the neck to wrestle through executive order, wrestle the party leadership, the party name away from Yombly and the rest of us. But guess what? He cannot kill the legacy because we are Charles Bromskin's legacy. So he has that now. And what I'm saying to you, those who opposed him, some of them said this XYZ. And I repeated it. I don't want to repeat it again. So at the end of the day, they said, we told y'all. And I'm saying to you that in Liberia, every one of us have the right to be honorous. Every one of us should be honorous. Every one of us should try to keep our words. Every one of us should try to live together with other people in peace and respect their rights to be whoever they want to be. And lastly, to the issue of ability using the constitutional provision is there. I'm not contesting that. But what I said, and I will say it again, February he became chair. He never brought up the issue of dues. Yombly was spending her money, which Mr. Gaiman can allude that even, or what her name, Weather Power spoke on on Spoon TV and agreed to the fact that Yombly even sent her money. Yombly then was spending the money. He never talked about Yombly was spending her money out of her pocket to keep the party running. Paying CPP, doing this, doing that. Yombly was spending her own money. Nobody came to her and said, Madam, don't spend your money. Rather, pay dues so that out of the dues, we'll take the dues and spend the money. They never told Yombly that. Nobody, and I said to you, we have never had a due paying regime. Is it on the books? Yes, but has it been applicable or practiced? No. So Ability waits when his chairmanship comes on a contestation. When people are saying you are illegitimate, then he said you haven't paid your dues.
Thank you.
That is my point. And that is what I said is draconian.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's it. Mr. C, your closing remarks so we can close this thing out.
Thank you. I think we had a kind of spirited discussion here today. Mr. Gibbon, what I want to close with is that this time it was about the Liberty Party. And the next on point, I hope it will be about your beloved CDC, because what we're hearing is that this debt, domestic debt payment, is marked by fraud. And I've been doing my research and we got the numbers. So Tulay and myself will join ranks in holding the CDC accountable on what is clearly unbelievable fraud being carried on in broad daylight by this so-called political institution that calls itself Hope for Change. I hope you will come and you will not boycott on point. And when you were introducing the show, you said, I am always off point. You saw me. I'm always on point. The only guys who are always off point here, as those of you who support the political parties, you put yourself in a situation you can't handle.
You're done.
All right. And I'm holding you accountable. And Tulay is sweating. Next time or next Sunday will be your time to sweat. So that is all I have, folks. Watch out for next Sunday on point. I will be joining these guys. They love me here, so I will be here. And we will be talking about the fraud when it comes to the domestic debt the government is paying. And I will be ready for that. Thank you, Mr. Gilman.
Thank you very much. This is why we call it On Point. We appreciate you being here, Mr. C. Obviously, I am so good and so buoyant that a registered ANC man like you who name us on all the signing sheet. You're going to come out here, broad daylight to disown your own party. But anyhow, thank you very much, Mr. Tulay. We got him here. We're going to lock him up. I wanted to say this. We are all Liberians, Mr. Tulay. We should not castigate. We should not insinuate in any way. I know we are Bassa people, the people make joke, we sold our land for small fee, all of these things. They say these things and we kind of joke about it. But when you say a particular group is dishonest and they are known for this and they are known for that, it makes reconciliation almost impossible, because everything you say about the Madingo people, you could say about the Bassa people, you could say about the Kru people. So we need to get away from the generalization. We also want to collectively denounce any violence, any form of violence going into somebody's property and actually physically destroying it. And the leadership have not come out to say, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what happened, there is no reason for you to go into somebody's home and take hammer and break people's property because you don't want them there. It is not right. And my friend, when you say there are certain words that you will use because other people do not want to use it, I want to draw your attention to the N word in this country. People use those words. I wanted to use it, but we collectively agreed that that word would no longer be allowed in our lexicon, and we fought against it and no longer being used in public, in documentation, in history. We can do this. So we shouldn't say that and say some of these things that we are saying. We want to also say to our folks who are listening, we want you to join like you did today. Be a part of it. Mr. Sia, you did an excellent job hosting us. And we are praying that by next week, the great news that this government, President Weah, by putting Liberia on the map, Liberia for the first time in 200 years, since February 8th, 1821, we are on the stock market, Great British stock market. We have an IPO. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming.
Well, IPO for what thing?
Thank
Yeah,
you
man,
very
I
much.
go, man, because you really want sour everything. IPO for what thing?
Mr. C, take her out. Take her out with your partner, and there we go.
Come on,
Folks,
man.
the song "We Are All Liberians" will take us home. Tulay, I'm ready. I will join you. We will hold the CDC accountable next Sunday. On point, folks. Don't make it will be politically hard. Come.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.